American Tradition Institute, restoring science, accountability, and liberty to the environmental policy debate. We've seen in Part 1 that wind in practical use actually increases pollution. But what about other renewables?
Well, the way the Colorado statute works now with regard to renewables, if wind energy disappeared and the law was in place, they would have to go to other renewable energies and they would not be able to find it. Some renewable sources are better than others, but none of them are cost efficient with regard to or in comparison to natural gas and coal. Can you use other sources? Yes, but what are they, and are they cost efficient? At the present time, photovoltaic solar energy is not cost efficient. Biofuels requires the use of very large areas of land, so you're going to take land out of food production, and we've seen what happens with ethanol production. By turning corn into ethanol, we can't use corn for food, and it has a harm. It causes food prices to go up, and it's not cheap energy. But if you try to do a massive biofuels agenda, you would use so much land that all kinds of ecosystems would be damaged. They could recover, but not without getting rid of biofuels.
There are 30 states with renewable mandates. What consequences will the lawsuit have for other states besides Colorado?
If we prevail in Colorado, the likelihood is that we will then move on to another state, but no other state would be directly influenced by this decision. Not in a legal sense. In a political sense, many of the other states will look carefully at the decision and ask the question, would we be subject to the same lawsuit? And if so, their legislatures are likely to take action quickly.
What legal consequences would there be for Colorado?
If the American Tradition Institute's Environmental Law Center prevails and Colorado loses, Colorado law will be off the books. Colorado will have several options. It can certainly offer voluntary programs, which is what some states currently do. It can attempt to rewrite the law so that the unconstitutional portions are removed, although we think that would be very difficult. They can continue to subsidize wind if they choose to, but what is likely is that they will turn to Washington and say, give us a federal law that does what our state law does, and they will lobby for that. When that fails, the marketplace will then have an effect, and the marketplace will say, take wind off the grid, it's not a good deal.
You mentioned the possibility of a federal law mandating renewables use. Is that likely?
This is why we're putting wind on trial. It is likely that people would learn a great deal from this lawsuit. They would learn, among other things, that wind power is not a panacea. It is not much of a solution at all. And when even politicians in Washington, D.C. can learn from something like this, when they learn that this is not an answer, the likelihood of a federal mandate will shrink.